So, here's a massive question for you. In the age of artificial intelligence, what is our unique human advantage? It's kind of the defining tension of our time, isn't it? I mean, as machines get smarter, faster, and frankly more capable of mimicking what we do, it really forces us to take a hard look at what makes us distinctly human. We are standing at this crazy crossroads where pretty much everything we thought made us valuable, like raw processing power, basic logic, data retention, all of that is being outsourced to algorithms. So where exactly do we go from here?
Well, welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating piece of source material. It's a 2026 research blueprint from the Emergent Intelligence Research Institute, and they've proposed this incredibly powerful concept they call the core resilience framework. What I absolutely love about this research is that it doesn't just hand us some vague, feel-good philosophy. It gives us a literal psychological toolkit for the AI age. It completely redefines human capability by focusing on this incredible intersection of emotional stability and just unyielding grit.
Okay, here's our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to cover 1. The invisible modern crisis. 2. The core resilience framework logic. 3. The architecture of synthesis. 4. The AI age context. 5. A really cool startup case study. And finally, 6. Some practical daily exercises. Let's get right into it. Starting with Section 1, the invisible modern crisis.
We are living in this wild paradox right now. Think about it. We're in the most historically connected era ever. We're constantly surrounded by the glow of screens, bombarded by smartphone notifications, and just moving at the speed of a bullet train. Yet, right beneath this amazing technological marvel, there's this hidden crisis. We are highly connected, yes, but we are intensely lonely and distracted. The sheer volume of information thrown at us every single day has literally stripped us of our focus and our emotional control.
And that brings us to a pretty harsh reality. For the longest time, we kind of worshipped IQ, right? We thought success relied almost entirely on being the smartest person in the room or having natural, raw talent. But modern science is proving that totally wrong. If you have brilliant intelligence but absolutely zero internal awareness or perseverance, that talent is completely wasted. In a world that is this full of distractions, IQ without focus is practically useless. We desperately need a new model. Which leads us to the real meat of our discussion today. Section 2, Core Resilience Framework Logic. The fix for this modern crisis is found in a concept the researchers call dynamic equilibrium. Now, they didn't just invent new personality traits out of thin air. Instead, they created this brilliant synthesis. They took Daniel Goleman's famous concept of emotional intelligence, our ability to recognize and regulate how we feel, and they combined it with Angela Duckworth's concept of grit, which is our long-term perseverance. And the logic here is absolutely crucial. These aren't separate skills anymore. Having emotional control without the perseverance to keep going, you won't cross the finish line. And having stubborn grit without any emotional awareness, that just leads to massive burnout. But when you bind them together, they create this incredibly powerful, synergistic, dynamic equilibrium. This logically builds to what the Institute calls the law of emotional grit. I want you to think of this like a fundamental law of physics. Self-awareness multiplied by sustained practice equals emergent intelligence. Notice that multiplication sign? It is absolutely key here. Just recognizing your internal feelings isn't enough. You have to multiply that awareness by sustained, persistent effort directed toward a long-term goal. When you do that, you don't just get a sum of the parts, you get something entirely new, emergent intelligence. This formula right here, this is the core logic of the entire framework. Let's look under the hood at how this actually works in the brain. Section 3, the architecture of synthesis. The researchers ground all this theory in hard neuroscience, which is fascinating. When we face massive challenges, our neural networks light up in very specific ways. Our amygdala, that acts as the emotional alarm bell. It's the exact thing that triggers fear, panic, and that heavy feeling of intense exhaustion when things get tough. But here's the thing. Grit isn't just about clenching your jaw and pushing through the pain. Actually, scratch that. It's a literal biological training process. True resilience is about actively calming down that amygdala panic response and engaging your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that maintains calm, exerts logic and control, and actually trains our long-term resolve. So why does this biological training matter so much right now? Section 4, the AIH context. Let's put ourselves side by side with AI for a second. Artificial intelligence can execute coding, writing, and massive data analysis in literal seconds. Its core trait is pure, unadulterated data processing. But look at what it's missing. AI has zero emotional maturity and absolutely no willpower. It has all the data in the world, but no soul. Now consider us, human beings. Our output is finding meaning and purpose. Our core trait is deep empathy and long-term resolve. So, while AI completely dominates speed and data, we hold the ultimate evolutionary advantage, our emotional grit. Let's see what this looks like out in the wild. Section 5, the startup case study. The source material details this amazing story of a tech founder, and it really brings the theory into the real world. Let's walk through his 4 steps. Step 1, he built this advanced software, launched it, and experienced a total brutal market failure. The market flat out rejected it. Step 2, his amygdala completely took over. He was hit with overwhelming internal despair. Just a total failure of emotional regulation. But then he applied the core resilience framework. Step 3, instead of panicking and giving up, he engaged his prefrontal cortex. He completely reframed the failure strictly as market feedback. He took his emotional control back. And finally, step 4, sustained practice. He didn't quit. He worked steadily for 3 more years, using that exact feedback until he finally achieved massive success. He literally turned his panic into emergent intelligence. So how do we start building this ourselves? Section 6, practical daily exercises. The path forward here is honestly kind of beautiful. It's essentially about taking this profound, ancient philosophical wisdom regarding self-control and merging it with daily, modern scientific practice. The researchers gave us 3 very specific exercises to start rewiring our brains today. Okay, here are your 3 actionable takeaways. First up, the 90-second rule. When you feel intense anger or frustration bubbling up, make absolutely no decisions. Just stop and observe your breathing for 90 seconds. Scientifically, this starves the amygdala of that panic energy and gives it time to calm down. Second, micro-grit challenges. Every single day, I want you to pick one small task you really dislike but know you need to do, and do it for just 20 minutes with absolute unbroken focus. You are actively giving your prefrontal cortex a workout. And third, reframing self-talk. You have to shift from a fixed mindset of, I can't do this, to a growth mindset of, I am still learning this. Listen, these aren't just feel-good tips. Doing these things physically changes your brain's architecture over time. And that leaves us with this final, profound thought to consider. True intelligence is no longer just about what your brain can memorize or calculate. It is quite literally a matter of the heart and your willpower. As artificial intelligence continues to master pure data, how will you use your emotional awareness and your grit to evolve beyond the machines? Because the future really does belong to those who can master their inner world. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, I hope you go try out that 90-second rule today.